What's up, people, and welcome to a video that I was planning on making probably last week, but that sort of fell through. Yeah, I pretty. I'm sorry. I don't even know if I actually want to do this because I can already imagine the sheer flaming dumpster fire that my comments will probably become if I do this, but it's something worth talking about, I guess. As most of us know, Reddit is, well, a cesspit, for lack of a better word. There are some good subreddits out there, but most of them are just exercises in authoritarianism, for lack of a better word, where a bunch of people go so that they can circle jerk themselves into, the perfect echo chamber. And 40K is not immune to that, unfortunately. And the subreddit in question is called Sigmarxism. Now, if you have been in this hobby as long as I have, and as long as a lot of you that watch me have, then at some point you have heard of Sigmarxism. And it's usually not in a good way. It's kind of weird in a hobby as, supposedly as right-leaning or right-wing as they like to say it is, that we have this subsection of ideologues / Marxist, communist, lefties that enjoy the hobby, supposedly. And, it's so weird because I'm just gonna read the rules for this subreddit before we start actually looking at it. Rule number 1 is no trolling or bigotry. Transphobia, sexism, ableism, racism, and anything fascist adjacent is unacceptable. Any such behavior will result in the ban hammer before you can say so much for the tolerant left. If that's any indication of what this subreddit is like, there you go. Just read rule number 1. Rule number 2, don't punch left. This is a space for all leftists, not a place to resolve differences between tendencies. We will consider bans for anyone deliberately causing infighting. Rule number 3, liberalism. As you can tell from the name Sigmarxism, there's an intended bias towards leftist tendencies, Marxism, Leninism, anarcho-communism, etc. Liberals are allowed here, but posting liberalism, see frequently asked questions, is not covered under Rule 2, meaning you can and will be called out for it because liberal capitalist hegemony is something leftists have to deal with everywhere else. Excessive or repetitive liberalism is grounds for a ban. We're only at rule number 4. Rule number 4. Or, I am so sorry. That's rule number 3. We're 3 rules in. Rule number 4 is no brigading. Which is, that's fine. That one, yeah, no brigading. I'm on board with that. Rule number 5, limited look at this chud or based grimdank posts. This stuff is pretty low effort and may come here to get away from it, so mods will curate and limit these posts. Posting a screenshot of right-wing Redditors on other subs is lazy garbage content and will be removed. Nobody wants to see your ZOFMG BBQ I found a Nazi in the wild 111 exclamation point trash. Yeah. That's okay, looking at that from a leftist perspective or a right-wing perspective, that's probably a good rule to have. Punching down, punching up, whatever. Fuck it. If you don't want to be cluttered with haha, make fun of this guy posts, which this subreddit usually has anyway, if they actually enforce that, then I would say that's a good rule. Rule number 6 is no horny on main. Sigmarxism is simply not the space to explore sexuality. Posting unironic horny, even if it's a variety of horny that goes against gender norms, is still objectifying. Unsolicited sexual objectification of people as a link to negative mental health. Sex positivity includes consent. When people join this subreddit, they did not sign up for these posts or comments. Rule number 7, stay on topic. This sub encompasses a pretty wide cross selection of war gaming and politics, so it shouldn't be hard to keep it related. That's a good rule. Rule number 8. Content warnings and spoiler tags for sensitive content. That's also a good rule. I like that one. Well, we're at the last rule, which is please flare. Please help keep the subreddit clean by distinguishing between git posts, memes, think pieces, analysis and discussion, and hobby, gaming and painting. So, yeah, fair enough. Now, before I click on this, fuck it, we're just gonna do it anyway. This is an example of your everyday Sigmarxism post. GW playing 8D chess against LS smooth brains. If your lore is already poorly written before making it inclusive, they can't blame wokeness when you continue to make poorly written lore. Meh. Then we have some regular painting. Then we have people painting Sisters of Battle. Here we got some people painting little French soldiers. Here we got some musicians. Yeah. So far, so good. Then we get to stuff like this. Headcanon for how each Primarch would react to you coming out as trans. Then we got more painting. Then we got memes. Then we got more painting. Female Space Marine. Should fascism be progressive? A genuine discussion on the ideal future of the game of Warhammer 40K. Then we have female Space Marines. Then we have some painting.
This is my life in the Air National Guard.
Then we have a trans men are men. They said a death world makes a man meme post. Yeah, this is making fun of chuds. How mad are the chuds going to be when they find out that some of the female custodies have penises? Shit like this. Look, I am already in the camp of fucking loathe Reddit. Just completely. I do not like Reddit. I don't look at Reddit. I don't use Reddit. And every time I see Reddit, it's literally some of the worst fucking takes I have ever seen in my goddamn life. And I avoid it like the plague. But every so often, it doesn't matter what group you're in, I would put Sigmarxism at the top of the lefty circle jerk cancer of this hobby tier list. And then right below that, maybe we got the Imperium of Man Facebook group. But between the two of these sections of the hobby, it's like, why do you even, what is it about the hobby that you like? These are the same people that are constantly trying to change things, saying that you're wrong, saying that you are right-wing and a fascist and a Nazi and every other fucking buzzword that they can think of. And they all come over here and then they post about how I know they said they don't do it, but they do, about how all the rest of us, that aren't ideologically captured are right-wing fascist racist bigots. Again, when you look at 40K, now this is my opinion. When I look at 40K, the first thing that pops into my mind has nothing to do with politics. It doesn't have anything to do with leftist progressivism, and it doesn't have anything to do with right-wing or extremism type shit, ultra-nationalist shit. That's not what I'm looking at when I look at 40K as a hobby. What I'm looking at is a game, is a setting, is a science fiction IP, right? I'm not engaging in the hobby in order to spread an ideal or an ideology or whatever. It's just a hobby, right? And these are the same people saying that they can't enjoy the hobby without it being more like their political leanings or their ideological leanings. Which it just blows my mind, because if that's what you want, then you just want reality. You can walk outside and get that shit. You don't have to go to 40K for it. I'm just saying. I mean, look at what's happening on the college campuses right now, all over the US. This is This is where we're at. And, you know, at any given time, there's really not that many users on this Sigmarxism subreddit. I mean, it has 44,000 members, and at the most, you only have maybe 14 or 20 active at a time. And I saw a post that somebody had shared from Sigmarxism talking about somebody that made their own subreddit where people just wanted to talk about the hobby and keep this type of shit out of it, right? And one of the first things that was on there was somebody saying, oh, I need to infiltrate this subreddit. Now, these are the same people saying, oh, we don't want to kick you out of the hobby. We just don't want these people in the hobby. Or the ones saying, oh, we're not trying to infiltrate anything for any sort of agenda or anything at all, that are saying this exact same thing of, oh, I need to infiltrate so I can spy on these people and see what they're saying. Because at the end of the day, the people that engage with the hobby in this way genuinely give a shit about what you have to say. As much as they say they don't, they absolutely do. And you can see that, which, and I've been debating if I want to go over this 2-hour podcast thing that everybody's been talking about, where there's a quote from that podcast where one of the trans guests, who shall not be named, says something along the lines of, oh, I want to convert the chuds. I want to save them. You know, I want to bring them over to my side. Why? And we can have a whole conversation about trying to convert people to a leftist ideology, but that's not what this is about. This is mainly about all the cancer that I've seen come out of Sigmarxism. And I'm probably going to get some weird comments for even talking about this subreddit. But since day one, I've been saying that Sigmarxism is probably the worst thing about this hobby. Am I saying that all the people that are engaged in Sigmarxism are all bad? No, because I don't know. But I will say the ones that I've seen are pretty awful. So there's that. And if their goal is to convert people, which it's obviously not, given the rules, then I guess they're accomplishing whatever it is they set out to accomplish. But yeah, it's so weird how everybody, I can't, before the last couple months, I mean, it was like every other week that you had some pretty wild takes coming out of Sigmarxism. And no matter how much I tried to avoid it, I couldn't help but see it, because everybody would be like, oh, look at this thing that I saw on Sigmarxism. And I'm just like, oh, God, why? But yeah, there you go. If you didn't know, now you know. The guys I stream with were all telling me to make this video, and I was sitting there thinking very heavily about whether or not I wanted to do it. But there's your basic rundown of Sigmarxism. And, you know, if you ever see any sort of memes or anybody dunking on Sigmarxism, now you know why. And yeah, it's I don't have the words available to describe how I feel about Sigmarxism without me getting demonetized and probably suspended. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So thanks for watching, everybody. Until next time, it's on your head if you decide to go visit that subreddit. I already tried to warn you.